Hello, gentle viewers. This is AbGuardian, welcoming you to the final episode in the Baseball 101 series, namely Roster Construction and Out of the Park Baseball 26. In this episode, we're going to be talking about how to properly evaluate players using everything we've learned in the previous 5 episodes to ensure a successful team. Now, there's really 3 kinds of teams in baseball. There are teams that are building to get to the playoffs, teams that are building to win a championship, and teams that are trying to get back to respectability. These are kind of the 3 big things in the way that I see it. And knowing where you are on that spectrum from your team is trash and you're trying to make it something special to your team is winning championships is a crucial aspect of success in this game. It's so important to understand where you actually are. Let's begin by taking stock of the Guardians in this year. Okay, my mic is being a little bit strange. Give me 1 second. That should be a lot better. Sorry if you had a difficult time hearing me. The microphone cord was kind of tangled up, which is kind of embarrassing. Anyways, so I don't know very much about the Cleveland Guardians. I know about them a lot in real life, obviously. I don't know as much about them in this franchise, and so we're gonna have some decisions to make. First thing we want to figure out is where we are on the spectrum. Are we closer to being perennial contenders? Are we closer to winning the World Series? Or are we closer to simply rebuilding? Now, we did win the division last year, it looks like. 93 and 69. How do we do in the postseason, I wonder? What was 2025 like for us? Like 93 and 69, that's a pretty good deal there. I don't see our postseason, though. I bet my emails would tell me. Here we go. Playoffs begin. Okay, so you're telling me that the playoffs have begun, but you're not telling me how we did. Oh, I just saw it. It said playoff history. That's what we want. We got beat by the Orioles. Of course we did. The Uber Orioles. Okay. So first thing that we're gonna do is we're going to figure out if we've made any plays, any offers, and then retract those offers. Because I'm having a bunch of extensions to people, which are frankly pretty reasonable, I'm going to let these go ahead and happen. And then we can talk about where we are. Okay. So, quick early impressions. David Fry is not a DH. He's not even that good a hitter. I have many concerns here. Many concerns. That this is the best he can do for a DH. I see that Travis Bazana is probably about ready for the major leagues, so we're gonna probably make that happen. I'm thinking. Yeah, he dominated in AAA. Like, he didn't just play; he played very well. A good statistical record, generated plenty of value. Let's talk about value, actually. So, what is the most precious asset in Major League Baseball when building a team? Um, Pause the video for a second and tell me what you think. Okay. It's not money, if you guess money. It's not even prospects. It's 26. It's the number of players you can have on a major league roster. That is the most precious resource in baseball. If you also said outs, I would agree to that as well. I would definitely say that is a reasonable thing to say. But by and large, the most critical thing you have to worry about is how are you going to make the most value out of those 26 roster spots? They're 28 because roster expanded, 26 is what we're talking about. So there's really 3 ways that you generate value as a position player. Offensively, defensively, and base running. Um, so you want to make sure you get players that can handle multiple things. Okay, this is not helpful. Game. Here you go. And then we'll do this. And we'll do this. And we'll do that. Okay. So I want to try to make sure that we're getting players that fill multiple roles if possible. Or players that are so good that it's okay if maybe they're not the very, very best. That's what we're looking at here. So as an organization, a few things pop out at me. Let's look at the Major League roster first and just try to get a sense of where we are so we can start making some informed decisions here. We have 4 star players and 3 of them are in the bullpen. That is an issue. That is definitely an issue. Emmanuel Clase is amazing. Love him. Jose Ramirez, one of the GOATs, especially when it comes to Cleveland baseball players. Cade Smith and Sam Hentges. So we're talking 3 relievers and a position player. That being said, what Cleveland has to say Chicago doesn't is they have a great number of medium tier stars. Maybe not the kinds of players that are going to win MVPs, but players that are really good contributors. Steven Kwan is a classic example of that kind of player that's really good and can be a valuable player on a contending team, but isn't somebody that necessarily you build around. But he's a great player, and he's really helpful to us. We have pitchers like Tanner Bibby. We have Shane Bieber, who's returning from another arm injury, which is concerning to me. We have Kyle Manzardo. We have Bo Naylor. We have a mixture of young and old players. We're not starting from square one. We're starting from square 10 to 15. Is this a playoff caliber club? It's a club that can make the playoffs, but it's not a team that can go deep into the playoffs. The single biggest issue with this club is that we don't have good enough starting pitching. Tanner Bibby is good. Shane Bieber is pretty reasonable if he's healthy. But the rest of these starters are very interchangeable. And unfortunately for us, we don't really have a starter on the way. For all the talent that we genuinely do have, it's not rotation talent. And it's people that are pretty far away from being in the rotation. So that is a consideration for sure. We have some upper tier offensive talent. Travis Bazana is a pretty good example of that. I don't think he stays a second for very long. I don't like his glove, but he's a very talented hitter, and I'd like to try to find a way to get him some playing time. Chase DeLauder is another guy that has a ton of offensive potential. He just maybe doesn't hit consistently enough. But he also had a great year in Columbus. So we have several players who basically are ready for the major leagues. We just need to get them roster spots. Okay. Let's talk money. Okay, why are we not keeping Sam Hentges? Is it because of the injuries? When will you be back? You'll be back in 3 to 4 months. You'll be ready by opening day. That's fine. I'm going to override you and say that you are going to be given a 1-year contract offer. So what are players worth monetarily? I beg your pardon. My throat, I'm having a hard time keeping my throat clear. So the general, and I do mean general, rule of thumb is 8 to 10 million per war. If a player is worth 8 to 10 million, if a player is worth 3 to 4 WAR. That player should be making 30 to 40 million, roughly speaking. However, unless you're the Dodgers or the Yankees, you can't afford to be paying that to everybody. Okay. Real talk, David Fry is not worth keeping. He isn't. I'm gonna quickly revoke that offer and then non-tender him. Why do I say that? It's not the amount of money that we're offering him. That's not the issue. The issue is what he's requesting in other ways. Namely, what position is he playing? He's an okay hitter. He's not terrible, but he's pretty shit at every position except for first. I don't think another first baseman is the best use of our resources. We're going to withdraw this offer. And we're going to non-tender David Fry. But that's not even a question for me. Why are we wasting our money? Jace Fry is a bad pitcher. We're not offering him very much money, but I don't know why we're offering him anything. That's very strange to me. So Lane Thomas had a fantastic year last year. A really good year. Where are we at in the outfield? If we let Lane Thomas walk, presumably Chase DeLauder goes up to the majors. I think we've got enough interesting players that losing DeLauder doesn't. That losing Lane Thomas doesn't hurt us. Not really, anyway. Another number that's really important to keep in mind that we haven't talked about is age. This is a good time to talk about aging curves. Typically speaking, players start off young, very inexperienced, very ineffective. By the time they hit about 23 to 24, they should be a regular or close to it. Built up to their peak, 27 to 28, maybe 29 in some players, starting to decline about 32 to 33. So Jose Ramirez is already on the wrong side of 30. Jose Ramirez is probably going to start declining here in the near future. That's something we're going to want to watch out for. It's something we're going to have to consider as we're building our roster going forward. Pitchers, it's different. Pitchers is very, very different. Because pitchers are very volatile because of injuries, you can't predict pitcher performance from year to year. It's all about when they get their innings. So around the age of 23 to 24, starting pick before up to that age, starting pitchers are very, very, very fragile. Injuries are commonplace and can often be devastating. Once they get to about the age of 25 or 26, if they stayed relatively healthy up to that point, you can start giving them work in the major leagues. You can start considering them. There's always a chance of freaks, players that are just really fucking good, and they're good from day one. But that is certainly not a common occurrence. We also need to make some room on the 40-man, but we'll talk about that here in a second. So what I mean by that is, so hitters have a fairly standard bell curve for the most part, and there's always exceptions. But by and large, hitters usually age in a predictable fashion. Pitchers don't. Some pitchers don't get started until they're fairly late in their major league career. One example of this is Corey Kluber, who only hit the major leagues at the age of 27. That's pretty late to be starting your major league career. But who had a pretty good year, a pretty good career. I think a lot of people are really happy with his career. You get guys like Jamie Moore that pitch well into their 40s. But then you have guys like Felix Hernandez, who once by the time he hit the age of 30, wasn't the same pitcher anymore. It's hard to predict. So the best indicator for success is how good they were in the past. You got to really check those stats on the older players. And then try to picture in your head what it looks like if that player starts to slip. Jose Ramirez has consistently been one of the best players in Major League Baseball. Certainly one of the best third basemen. He's not really showing signs of slowing down yet. So I don't see any need to get too worried about Jose Ramirez's ability to contribute. Um, so we're not going to worry about him. Okay. So knowing what we know, we need to make a couple of decisions here. First, if we take a look at one of my most important screens, which I will do here. Who's ready? Who needs a 40-man spot or we lose them? Well, I see two names off the top of my head that need to be addressed. Jason Chorio and Angel Ganao. Um, both are genuinely interesting players, but there might also be some limitations to them. Before we get any farther, I want to quickly check on our coaching staff. Do we have a good scouting director? Barnsby is fine. He's not brilliant, but he's fine. Cody Buckle is a great manager, but he's not a very good pitching coach. Kevin Arminio's pretty decent. Maybe we just hire somebody. I was doing this for the one season. We're only going to play through one full season, and then we end up wherever we end up. So I'm going to do the off season. I'm going to talk about player value, and then I'm going to talk about what we do when the season begins. Okay, so arbitration lies. A quick reminder of how baseball contracts work. For the first 2 to 3 years of a player's career, major league career, they get a league minimum, which doesn't increase in OT, but does increase in real Major League Baseball. Namely, it's $750,000, $740,000. Excuse me. It increases IRL every year, but I don't know whether it increases in Major League Baseball. So I know it increases in Major League Baseball, and whether it increases in OOTP. So that's the first thing we keep in mind. That's the first thing that we consider. George Valera, I'd like to offer you a minor league extension while I'm thinking about it. Minor leaguers in real life do make money, but here they don't. Okay, so first 2 to 3 years. Why do I say 2 to 3? We'll get to that here in a second. Don't worry about it for right now. So the first 2 to 3 years are league minimum. Then they have 3 years of arbitration. In the arbitration process, the player and the team each exchange figures. The player says, this is what I want. The team says, this is what we're willing to offer. And then they have negotiations on a 1-year contract. The team holds his exclusive rights. It is not a question of what happens next. It is a question of what's the deal? Why is Tristan McKenzie... Oh, Tristan McKenzie sucks. Why are we offering him a new contract? I'm letting myself get distracted for no real reason. Yeah, Tristan McKenzie, you're being non-tendered. I'd rather have 1.5 million than try to string you along any longer. You're just not that good a pitcher anymore. Okay. So 3 years of arbitration where you can sign 1-year contract unless you get non-tendered. That is a team just doesn't offer you a contract at all. In that case, you become a free agent. That's what's happening here, by the way. Tristan McKenzie and David Fry are so limited that I don't want them on my team anymore. I want them to go find somewhere else to play. I don't want them anymore. Okay. So for the first 6 years of a player's career, possibly 5, you have control of that player. That player plays for your team and only your team, unless you choose to trade them, or release them, or non-tender them. Then they get into free agency. Your job as a general manager is to maximize the value of players such that you have great upcoming players on reasonable contracts so that you can afford to go after what you really desperately need. So this is why prospects are so valuable. Prospects are incredibly valuable. Now there is a difference. There is something called Super 2 players. A Super 2 player is somebody who's in the top 22% of service time among all players with at least 2 years of service time. So if they have 130 days of service and they have 2 full years, then they become Super 2s. instead of getting arbitration in year 3, they get it in year 2. Sorry, instead of, yes, that's what I meant to say. Because otherwise it's 3 years at the minimum. Super 2s get 2 years at the minimum. I don't think they get a 4th year of arbitration though. I think they just get 3 years of arbitration. Um. No, they get 4 years of arbitration. Okay. That's the difference there. That's what I was trying to remind myself of. Okay. There we go. Okay. So all this is to say that one of your most important jobs in the off season, especially right away, is identifying who's worth keeping and who you want to offer a new 1 year deal to. Mackenzie is gone. Hengest can come back. Jace Fry is gone. I don't know why we're offering him a contract. I think that's very stupid. I don't want to offer him a deal. Now, at a certain sense, I'm kind of nickeling and diming here, but that's kind of what you have to do. If you want to be a successful baseball franchise, you have to spend money intelligently. It's not just spending money to spend money. It's spending money to actually make the team better or accomplish the goals you want them to accomplish. In this case, offering a roster spot to a player that's not that good is not a good use of our resources. Tyler Freeman, I would like to replace, but I also think he's acceptable for right now. But I'm definitely interested in replacing him. Quan is great. I want to keep Stephen Quan. Hengest is good. Bibby is good. And Ben Lively is adequate. These guys can all come back. Now let's look at our free agents here. If Lane Thomas wants to come back for a reasonable salary, I wouldn't say no to that. But it's also hugely out of character how well he did. I don't think it's smart for us to give him too much money. But I at least want to ask him. He wants to get paid a lot of money. He's not going to get paid that much from me. If we knew he'd be a 4-win player, he's worth that money he's asking for. I don't think he's a permanent 4-win player. He's already 30 years old. It was his best year in his career by a lot. I think he's the kind of player that's about to take a roller coaster straight down on the aging curve. A lot of things went right for him that don't normally go right for him. And so it's a bad bet that he will continue to play at a high level. So no thank you. And the rest of these guys are mostly not that interesting and can be easily replaced. Yeah. I then like to go here and offer minor league extensions to players that got at least 1 win above replacement in the minors. Maybe they say yes, maybe they say no, but they're the kind of players I'd like to keep around because they don't cost me any money. Okay. So my number one expectation in free agency, if I can manage it, is I want to try to get another flagship starting pitcher. That's what's going to hold us back from being a top tier team in the postseason. It's going to be our starting pitching. We have a lot of middle infielders that are all about the same skill level. I wouldn't mind making some changes there. We could use a bit more power. Although that power might come from one of our talented rookies, it might come from a free agent. It's hard to say at this point. But this is the calculus that you're always going to make is, does this player help me now? And if they don't help me now, how can I make them help me more? We also need to go ahead and set up the player development because I'm not talking about that here. I'll just leave it how this is. No, I won't. This is stupid. You're doing stupid things, game. Very stupid things. Okay. If you are a longtime fan of this channel, you know one of the things I always say is you can never go wrong teaching pitchers how to throw pitches. how to throw for strikes, and you can never go wrong teaching play discipline to hitters. Angel Cervantes, get to work on control. Why is control so important? If a pitcher cannot throw strikes, they are a worthless major league pitcher. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a bad pitcher. They are not helpful. If you cannot throw strikes, you'll just walk every hitter you face, or you'll leave stuff up in the zone that just gets obliterated. This guy's not a great pitcher. He's okay. I don't see why he's 71 overall. I mean, his changeup is amazing. I'll give him that. But he is a long way from around to the major leagues. Travis Bazana is in pretty good shape, offensively speaking. He could get better. He could always get better. But his immediate role on this team might actually be a DH. Or something to that effect. He wouldn't be the worst second baseman. He's not very good, but he's got the kind of skill set that means he could maybe stick around second base for a year or two. But I'm a little ambivalent on him. I could have him learn a new position. He wouldn't be a terrible outfielder, actually. If I could teach him to play in the outfield, I'd be more likely to let him play the field. Let me have him learn a new position, because I don't think he's going to stick at second base. I just don't see that happening. All right. Kane Kepley is the kind of center fielder that I'd love to see. Doesn't have for a lot of power, but the rest of his game is actually quite strong. If we can get him to develop in a reasonable fashion, he's going to be awesome. I wanted to focus on playing center field. That's his path to the major leagues. If he can play, actually improving it's quite difficult. Let's work on plate discipline instead then. We can get value that way. Chase DeLauder. Let's have him. Let's get spooky with him. Let's work on quality of contact. It's not going to be easy for him, but if he can improve his quality of contact, he instantly becomes a much more palatable player. Jason Chorio, it is really important that he learn how to take a walk. Plate discipline, done. Von Necker, I'm not even going to look at his actual skills. He's just going to work on control. And Angel Janao, I don't really care what we do with him. Franco Aleman, let's work on control, please. And I get one more. Gustavo Melendez is somebody that might be a good player at some point in the future, but right now, he is very uninteresting. He's very, very far away from seeing the major leagues. Let's work on Andrew Walters instead, and let's have him work on his control. Okay. All right. So with free agency coming up, we want to make sure that we're targeting the right kinds of plays. What are we looking for? We're looking for starting pitching. That is the number one thing that this team needs to succeed. If we can get quality pitching, we'll be in great shape. Offensively, we're going to cycle out some outfielders. I think there's a lot of potential there. Like Jason Choria has a good chance to make center field out of spring training. I know he doesn't have a ton of experience in the high minors, but he's going to be in that competition. He's going to be practicing for it. First base, right now is Kyle Manzardo. He's perfectly fine. I think he's a good fit, and I'm willing to let him just play it out. Didn't have a great year last year. Hopefully we see him take a step forward. But I do have some other first base options if it turns out he doesn't work out. So we're fine with that. Second base is probably going to be Travis Bazana. I could see some value in letting him start the year in AAA. but he's not going to be in AAA for very long. He played really well in AAA. And at 23, okay, let's talk about ages and minor league levels. For the most part, if you're under the age of 20, you should be in rookie league. The Guardians have two different Dominican Summer League teams, which is not typical. Not every team has that, but it's nice that we do. And then they have their regular, what is the ACL again? It's the Arizona Complex League. So our ball is called short season ball. These are guys that typically play later in the year. They usually start around the time of the draft, and they don't play a full season. It's because they're used to professional baseball. If you have players that are in their mid-20s that are still in rookie league, chances are they're not going to make the majors. Is this bad news for Matt Jacek? Yes. I feel sorry for the guy, but he's probably not going to ever make the major leagues. That's just how it is, guys. It's just how it is. By the time they had 19 or 20 or 21, they should be ready for A ball, which is a full season league. There's also high A. Now I don't know whether high A in Major League Baseball is a short season league or not. Let me look at high A baseball. It's also called A plus, but I'm pretty sure high A does play a full league. It's not like the old short season ball. How many games in high A schedule? There you go. As of 2022, it's 150 games for AAA, 138 for AA. High A and single A are 132 games. Okay. High A is often used for players that are considered to be very advanced, who are sometimes even coming right out of the draft, might go right to high A or low A. Double A is the hardest level in minor league baseball. Not triple A, double A. If you've made it to triple A, 9 times out of 10, you will make the major leagues at some point. It's that gap between double A and triple A that wrecks players' careers. It's the real proving ground is in double A. Like, Kobe Allard, if he's only playing in double A, is in a lot of trouble. But you can still have a very good living if you play minor league baseball. You don't have as good a living as you would in the majors, but it's possible to survive playing minor league baseball. But for our purposes, a guy like Colby Allard is probably not going to make the major leagues. It's just not likely to happen. Not saying he's like a terrible human being or whatever, but whatever his future career plans are, they probably don't include Major League Baseball. And that's fine. So you see players that are like 30 years old still hanging out in double A. That usually means one of two things. They're either on the way out, or they're maybe trying to make a comeback after an extended period of injury or something like that. Austin Hedges is a major league catcher under the strictest definition of the words major league. He is a terrible, terrible, terrible hitter, but he's really good with the pitching staff. And so a lot of people really like Austin Hedges. He's not very good at hitting, though. But maybe for a backup catcher, that's not such a big deal to you. Maybe that's not as big a concern. All right. Okay. Now, conversely, making AAA at 21 is very impressive. That's a player that might have a bright major league career ahead of them. All right, friends, let's advance some time. We're going to jump all the way down to free agency filings, because that's all we care about, really. We got John Farrell. We're also waiting for people to listen to our 1-year contract offers. Here we go. Nice. We're getting some trade proposals. Let's start here with Kansas City Royals. Okay, you want to give me Michael Massey. Michael Massey is an acceptable second baseman. For a given value of I need somebody who can play second base and not embarrass himself, he's okay. Looking at his ratings from top to bottom, his contact is mostly because he has a nice amount of ability to avoid strikeouts. And he's got gap power, which means we should expect decent doubles totals and a little bit of home run power. His defense is fine. He's a decent player. There is a universe in which I could see Michael Massey playing second base for the Cleveland Guardians next year. The problem is Angel Ganao is close to his level already. Jean-Kel Ortiz actually isn't that impressive. Massey is okay. Like, the thing is that Mr. Ganao here is not likely to be in the majors either. Although he is a really good second baseman. He's got a future in the majors as a utility guy, but he's never going to hit for very much. That's not his skill set. But Massey only plays second base. That's his only position. He doesn't offer much in the way of base running. His minor league, his major league track record is somewhat limited. Looks like 2024 he got a little bit lucky with hitting for some extra power, and that probably makes him look better than he actually is. I don't think this trade is very smart. Not that Massey doesn't represent an upgrade, but that Massey doesn't represent somebody that fits what I'm looking for in a player. So I could reject the trade. I don't think that works for me. I like Bryson Stott better. Arias has a lot of positional flexibility. This is the kind of guy I was talking about that helps those multiple roster spots. Gabriel Arias is basically the perfect utility guy. He plays all these positions extremely well. He's a good fielder. He's got pretty nice base running. And his bat is good enough that he won't completely embarrass you if he has to play a bit more regularly. This doesn't interest me either. I think people are missing the fact that if we have a new second baseman, it'll probably be Travis Bazana. And let's face it, Juan Brito isn't exactly chopped liver. I know he didn't have a great year last year, but there's more to him than it appears to be. I think he's a perfectly acceptable second baseman. I don't feel the need to be upgrading at second. Places I want to upgrade. I think Chase DeLauder has to be given a chance to win an outfield job in spring training. But let's not dilly dally right now. I don't want to talk about what I want yet. Johnny Brito is an okay relief pitcher, I guess. I mean, he's better than Dylan Larson, that's for sure. And what are you asking for? You're asking for Ganao and Jake Fox. Fox is fine. Like, he's an acceptable baseball player. Why am I rating him poorly? Because he has very little power. His defense is decent. Like, he can hang in center. But the real reason I don't like him is all of this. In other words, he's not likely to reach his maximum development level. And he's definitely not likely to take big leaps. He's got all sorts of red flags. And that's why I'm not interested in taking um what was I talking about? What happened here? Johnny Brito, yeah. It's not Johnny Brito. Oh, it was Fox, Jake Fox, my guy here. Yeah, so he's dumber in a post. He's real stupid, and given his lack of power, his offensive skill set is going to be bounce on a nice edge. If he's not able to get a good average, he's basically going to be a useless hitter. So Brito offers us something. I mean, he's not worthless. He has some value as a relief pitcher. I guess the question is, what does Ganal serve us for? I think he gives us an acceptable utility guy, which currently has more value to me than a medium tier reliever. When I know the medium tier relievers are very, very available in free agency. Um, yeah. Okay, I don't want Bryson Stott. Stop bothering me. We got a great glove for Lane Thomas. Nice. Something I didn't talk about is qualifying offers. If a player fits the requirements for draft pick competitions, he has to play the entire year for your team or be on your 60-man, be on your 40-man or on the 60-day IL. And he's never been offered a qualifying offer before, they're eligible for compensation. What that means is if somebody else signs them, you get a draft pick. It doesn't come from that team. It's not like, say, they lost a draft pick. No, actually, it's exactly that. They lose a draft pick and you get a compensation pick. But it involves offering them a 1-year offer of $20 million in this case. The worst possible thing we could do is offer any of these guys compensation because they'll just take the $20 million and run with it. It's what I would do. None of them looks like they're asking for an amount of money that's close to that. We could try rolling the dice with Lane Thomas, not taking the 20 million because they don't take the 20 million. You just get him for 1 year. That would be comically stupid. We're not doing it. I would be a terrible GM indeed if I offered them a qualifying offer that they're likely to take, and thus cost me $20 million. They're probably just not worth it. Silver Slugger, nice. It's Taylor Trammell again. We remember him from the White Sox save. No thanks. Yeah, I don't think so. Sorry, Platinum Stick. In case you're wondering why OOTP doesn't call it Gold Glove and Platinum and Silver Slugger, it's because those are actually owned by those trademarks are owned by Rawlings and Louisville Slugger, if I remember right. And for whatever reason, Out of the Park Developments couldn't make a license agreement with them, so they couldn't call them by default Gold Glove or Silver Slugger. Manager of the year. I did an amazing job, even though I didn't actually do anything the whole year. Oh, right, Dylan Larson. I could just cut him, actually, but I think I'll send him to AAA. Ezekiel Duran is not terribly exciting to me. I like Arias better. And Chandler Pollard doesn't move the needle for me. He's a mediocre infielder with very little offensive skill. He's pretty fast. I'll give him credit for that. But I don't think that's a player that interests me. No thanks. I could be targeting specific players. I want to see what free agency looks like. Travis Banana is frustrated. It's okay. Our free agency has begun. Wade Miley, what the fuck? I didn't offer him a contract, did I? Okay, you can control that mic turn off. Oh, I wonder if they offered him a minor league deal. Yeah, maybe. All right. So there's some international free agents that come out that we'll need to consider as part of our calculus. I want to turn off. Oh, I want to do a couple other things here while I'm thinking about it. Um, Always max out if you can afford it your player development budget and your scouting budget. It just always pays dividends. There's no reason not to. This is a pretty decent scaling of money. I'm gonna leave that alone. And let's talk free agents. All right. Vicente Guzman is exactly what we're looking for. He's a big time pitcher that's young, and he doesn't cost us a draft pick. He is the exact kind of player that will make us a better team. I want to get some protection here, so I'm going to ask for what are called team options. A team option is when the club, they're called club options in real life. I don't know why I call them team options here. It's the same thing. A team option means I can choose to keep his contract going or I can terminate it by paying him a buyout at the end of the year. A player option, by contrast, is the player's choice only. The player gets to decide if he's going to stick around or not. I'm going to happily offer him this deal. Happily. Um, he is the exact kind of player that we need. Look, guys, it's Marco Luciano. I'm not interested. Pete Fairbanks, not interested. All right. So if we can get Guzman, it's going to take away some of our payroll flexibility, but it gives us such a good pitcher that this is worth it. This is the kind of pitcher that you would dream of adding to your team if you could get away with it. All right. What else do I want? I'd like at least one reliever, probably two, probably three. I feel like we could use a lot of relievers. So let's check on relievers. Now, rule number one, you do not overvalue relievers. You don't do it. There's always so many freely available relief pitchers that are just looking for a job that if you overpay them, you're hurting your team. Don't do it. Let's grab a Ryan Presley. I feel like he would look pretty nice as one of our relief pitchers. 1-year deal. Great. I'm not taking guys like Chris Martin and P. Fairbanks because I already know how good they are and I want to see different players. But if I was playing to be a bit more efficient, I probably would. Let's offer some minor league deals. So Tyler Davis and Gabriel Nard. Avard the Nard. Adrian Morjon for 1.5 million. I don't even care if you're any good. That's so cheap. Let's do it. Offer him a 1-year deal. Okay. I'd love to get another starter if there's one who's looking to like rehabilitate his career, like a Clayton Kershaw, maybe. Maybe. Let's offer Daniel Castano a brilliant deal of 0 money and see if he takes it. Kershaw doesn't have a ton left. Last year he was thoroughly mid. I don't think that interests me. Alex Cobb isn't very good. Tyler Herb, sure. Now, there is a corollary to this. If we don't walk away with Victor Guzman or Vicente Guzman, we're in real trouble for upgrading our rotation. Because Brandon Woodruff is going to cost me a draft pick. Dylan Cease is not going to cost me a draft pick. Dylan Cease is a pivot. If we don't walk away with Guzman, we could take Dylan Cease. But I'd rather have Guzman. He's a virtually perfect pitcher. He has no weaknesses. So yes, if I could get Vicente Guzman, Milkman Jim as he likes to be called, I'm gonna do it. I'm absolutely gonna do it. We're gonna Glen Sim a week, and I just want to see what things look like after a week. Thomas Pannone and Jorge Quintana. Nope. Yeah. It's not that he's a bad pitcher. It's that his skill set is such that he basically is just watch me throw strikes, and I have nothing else. It's an important skill, but it can't be your only skill if you want to be successful in the major leagues. This is a bad deal. Tanner Bibby is our cost-controlled young starter. It would take a lot for me to give him up. TJ Nichols is uninteresting. Willie Vasquez is uninteresting. Misael De La Cruz is uninteresting. These are three uninteresting players. You're asking for Tanner Bibby. I don't think so. That's not going to happen here. Nope. 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 I'm going to go ahead and make Tanner Bibby untouchables just so the AI stops bothering me about trading him. Guzman likes my offer, but there's also going to be really hot competition from him because he is that unicorn, a young pitcher that's just ready for the major leagues in a big, big way. He's an ace. He's a legitimate ace. And we got him. We did it, gamers. We got him. This is the exact kind of player that you would sign if you were wanting to take your team to the next level. We can already make the postseason. This makes us a threat in the postseason. It also makes the road easier. So, welcome to the Guardians, Vicente. We love you. We hope for many big things from you. Travis Bazana, in fact, learned how to play center field, just very poorly. Okay. I can now teach him other skills, maybe? I could teach somebody else other skills. We could teach Zion Theophilus to not have such an awesome name. Maybe. Okay. I'm not gonna look at the Hall of Fame stuff. I could just check sortable list. That's pretty good. All players? Yeah, here you go. I'm just gonna sort by Jaws and then there you go. And then Cole Hamels and Mark Burley, sure. There you go. I don't know if this has always been here. This is a new addition, a recent patch. I like it a lot. I find this is much easier to read than this ballad here. It's the Man Ram. Okay, Rule 5 draft is coming up. What is a Rule 5 draft? The rules for the Rule 5 draft eligibility are sometimes difficult to get a hold of. So let me give you these specifics here. One moment, I have to sneeze. Oh my, that was a big sneeze. Okay. To be eligible for the Rule 5 draft, a player must have, if they're signed at age 19 or older, you get 4 seasons of professional baseball before they have to be placed on your 40-man roster. If they're signed at the age of 18, asked it within 5 seasons. So either way, within by the time they turn 23. If you do not have them on the 40-man roster, you lose these players. They could potentially be drafted by somebody else. Well, you have to keep them on the major league roster the whole year. That's the difference, right? That's what makes it a different thing. Okay, now here I can see the split. I wonder if that's something that just happened in the update that came out today. Remember, we couldn't do it in the other one, but now we can. Okay, okay. Default, please. And let's use our scouting director. Okay. All right. So who are the best players on this roster that need to be given a 40-man spot or we risk losing them in the Rule 5 draft? That's a fabulous question. That's why this list exists. Okay. Choreo and Ganao are definitely getting 40-man spots. I think they have enough potential that I want to keep them around. I feel like Alaska Abney has a little bit of upside to him, but he's a soft tossing submariner without any dominating pitches. I don't think he's gonna get taken if I don't keep him. Big Christmas is a possibility, but again, I don't think someone's gonna claim him. I think this is fine. And then we save other 40-man slots to add our own people to the Rule 5 draft. Acquire people from other teams using the Rule 5. Ryan Presley wants more money. How much more money does he want? He wants 3.28 million. I will take that. I think it's a reasonable idea that I give you a little bit more money. Roland Bolanos is pretty trash. I think we can just let him go. Tyler Herb. What a herb. The fans are bummed about us losing David Fry for some reason. Yeah. He got paid a comically large amount of money for a guy who's never really produced at the major league level since 2024. Um, yeah, Miami got screwed here. They should not have given him this much money. That was very silly. Very, very silly. Adrian Morejon signed. Nice. Um, I do like Jonathan India. I do like him. But Yorgis Valdez is a really good defender. And Juan Brito is perfectly acceptable. I feel like this is not a good deal unless I expect Jonathan to start at second base, and he's not going to start at second base over Travis Bazana, I don't think. Maybe he would. Maybe this is actually not a bad idea. Hmm. He does have a lead on base abilities, but look that it hasn't really transitioned into quality statistics. He's actually struggling mightily to hit consistently. I don't think it's worth it. I think I regretfully reject this offer. I don't think there's any value to it. Okay, time for the Rule 5 draft. How do we use the Rule 5 draft effectively? We want to grab players that have some upside and that offer us something special. Auto draft until we get to pick. We lost Will Brennan. I don't care. Will Brennan's only tool is his ability to hit for average. If he can't hit 300, he's useless. So enjoy Will Brennan. I certainly don't care. Okay, Angel Bastardo is a really good pitcher. I know that he doesn't look great because of the injury, but I think it is completely reasonable to go ahead and select him and just stash him on the IL. I think he's that good. I think he's got lots of potential. This is what the Rule 5 is for. We lost George Valera. That doesn't surprise me. It's fine. Maybe he'll come. Maybe he'll come home one day. Now, Luis Angel Acuna here is not of interest to me. He's got nice speed. He's got some second base chops. I think he'd be a better third baseman, but his bat's nothing special. I don't think he interests me. Jordan Beck is fine. Like, taking him is just, I want somebody to do a competition in swing training. If he wins, great. If he doesn't, that's also great. I'd like to try to get some more pitching, though. Oh, that's my guy. I was about to say, he looks like an interesting dude. Oh, yeah, he actually plays for me already. Maybe there's nobody else interesting. Yeah, Jordan Beck is fine. Ronnie Simmons is fine. Ronnie Simon, excuse me, is fine. Simon can play the infield very poorly, which is fun. Let's do a quick comparison of Beck and Simon. I think I want to take one of them. I just don't know which one yet. Okay. Beck is a much better power hitter right now and in the future. Simon is much less likely to strike out. Beck is significantly faster. Yeah, I think Jordan Beck is the guy. We'll look at their defensive differences here too. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna take Jordan Beck, and if he doesn't play, doesn't play. But I think he's worth taking a flyer on. The Robo Draft is a great place to get interesting relief pitchers, even if they don't stick with the roster for very long, like Wellington Herrera here. If his control was a little bit better, I would take him instantly. But it's not, so I'm not gonna bother. I ain't gonna. You can't make me. Luis Pacheco here is actually pretty good. He's got some nice pitches here. He's still got upside in his control. I think he is worthy of a pick. He'll probably be my last one. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I'm into it. That's it. Draft done. Padres also had a Bobby Seymour. Bobby Seymour is not bad. He's a good choice. Okay. So we've built a better roster. Um hopefully this offseason helps you see how you can build your roster up in the offseason. It's all about getting value. It's about getting the most you can out of every roster spot. And it's also a competition. It's about making sure that there's lots of opportunities for players to compete in spring training, improve, and potentially be ready for a major league role. Nolan Gorman for Gabriel Arias. No. Okay. Why am I casually dismissing Nolan Gorman? He is the height of one trick ponies. When a guy hits 30 plus home runs and is still at replacement level or lower, that tells you he is very limited. Um, this man cannot play the field. Is incapable of handling himself with the glove. He's very bad at it. Um, with his limited range, he might have more success at third base, I guess. Yeah. This is a guy who, if he could ever figure out how to hit 250, he'd be an all-star, but he'll never figure out how to hit 250. I'd rather keep Arias. I really would. I genuinely would. I honestly would. Okay. So this is something that happens with the AI, where the AI determines that you're not good at a position, and they just keep bombarding you with the exact same offers to try to get you to eventually bite. It's not a bad idea. Like, it's not like they're making a mistake by doing this, but it's not likely to bear any fruit because I know that I don't actually want a second baseman. Um, like, I don't care. I don't care about your silly offers to me. That doesn't interest me. Um, if we take a look at a report, if we look at our organizational report, where is that? Organizational rankings. Reports. Here you go. Yeah, our overall ranking is 25th. So the game, this is what the AI thinks we need. It thinks we need center fielders, second baseman, and first baseman. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's accurate. Maybe it is. I don't know. Yeah, I'm still not sure what the meta is here. I'm not sure what the meta is as far as when you take people off. Because you cancel the program, they just lose things. So, yeah. I think we just kind of let it ride. Oh, we do get Ryan Presley. It's going to offer us some veteran help in the bullpen. That'll be nice. Um, are we a better team right now? I think this is a good question to constantly be asking yourself throughout the offseason. Are we a better team? Yes. A team where Tanner Bibby is your number two is light years better than a team where he's your ace. Vicente Guzman, if he works out the way that we expect him to, is a game changer in every sense of the word. I still would like more depth in the rotation, to be honest with you. I'd like to get another starter if I could, especially if it doesn't cost you very much, because I don't have a lot of money left. I may guess have more money than I thought. We can have a peeky peek and see if there's any starting pitchers that might want a new home. I'd love to get one more mid-range starting pitcher, especially one that wouldn't cost me very much money. Jack Flaherty might be that guy. Um, Mr. Flaherty, what if I asked you for a 3-year deal with 2-team options? How does that grab you? No, he wants us 4 guaranteed years. Um, Can I get one team option? No, he wants his 4 guaranteed years. Okay. The Jack Flaherty that exists right this moment is worth $14 million. That is an adequate sum for his services. The Jack Flaherty who will be around 3 years from now is probably not going to be worth $14 million. Look at his scouting history. His velocity has been pretty consistent, but he is declining by tiny little slivers. Seth Lugo is not very good. Nick Martinez is slightly less bad. I mean, Jack Flaherty is the best pitcher remaining on the market. What about a 1-year deal? No, his salary demands keep going up. Okay, I'm gonna try to get creative here. I'm gonna see if he'll go for this. If he would take less money each year, if I can make it more front loaded, then I would take this deal. I'll increase it by 1, and I'm gonna give him another $1 million this year. Okay, this offer interests him. I will make this offer. I'm not necessarily trying to win a World Series this year, but I do think we need. Our system isn't built to prevent us from starting pitching in the near future. We're going to have to fight for it a little bit. I don't hate that trade deal, but I don't have a room. I don't have a purpose for Jonathan India. I like Andy Pages. I do like Andy Pages here. I think he's got a nice, well-rounded offensive skill set, and he's just looking for an opportunity. Andy Pages is really good. He's got a potential to be a star under the right circumstances. What's the downside? What's the downside of making this deal? I like Gabriel Arias. I think he still has something to prove for us. And we're not replete with third base options here. If we let him walk, like Khalil Watson might play third base for us. Sorry, not third base. Jose Ramirez plays third base. Arias is probably gonna be playing like second or short. Let's keep Chase the Louder in the minors for another year, which I think is very smart. I think he'll use another year of seasoning in AAA, maybe. It's a hard deal to pass up. If I drop Arias, how does that deal look for you? Okay. If I don't take the offer as it's written, I can't get it, and I think it's worth it to me. Yeah, I think it's worth it to me. Pages instantly provides us with offensive credibility at right field. Steven Kwan in left. I could upgrade at center field. I'd feel a little bit better with a better center fielder. But there's a lot to like about those two in the corners. Can DeLauder play center? Not well. Okay. That felt good. That felt like a good trade. We gave up something meaningful. Like Gabriel Arias is certainly not dishwater. but I think it was the right choice. I think. We will see, though. We will definitely see. Yeah. It's all about knowing your team, right? Like, no one is benching, no one is causing Jose Ramirez to be benched. That's just not going to happen. I don't want Nolan Gorman. Yeah, I don't want him. Stop. He might sign with Cleveland. That's good if he does. Brilliant. Yeah, that's really good. We've had a very productive offseason. Um, so because we made the postseason last year and because our core roster is very good, I think we have a chance to win the World Series. I think that is on the table now because we've done a lot to upgrade our rotation. Our lineup is far more stable. Like Andy Pages is a very nice get. He's a very, very nice get. I'd like a little bit of power if we can get it, would be nice. Um, yeah, I feel really good about our chances. Nothing is guaranteed, obviously. Lots of things could go wrong. But this is a much better team, both now and in the future, than we had even last year, in my humble opinion. Um, I can offer 4.75 million. I'm interested. Um, I like Victor Hernandez. I just don't. He's not a real infielder though, which reduces his value to me. It reduces his interest to me. A Juan Aviles that hits his full potential is a really good player, but he's a center fielder that can only play in the corners. What do I mean by that? He's not going to hit well enough to be a good corner outfielder. And he doesn't have the defensive chops to play in center, and he's also slow, which also makes him a bad center field choice. I think he has a lot of value, and if I were going to be keeping him safe and playing several seasons with him, I might be willing to take a flyer on him, but I don't think he's a good fit. Victor Hinojosa is pretty good, but again, he lacks defensive chops. We need pitching. We need pitching pretty desperately. I think Carlos Molina becomes the pick. Um, Good velocity, a really nice mix of pitches. I mean, the changeup you could probably not bother with, but the rest of the pitches are really good. He can keep the ball down. I think he's the kind of guy we want. He's also called the Mad Bomber, which is pretty fun. Yeah, let's do it. Now you may have a different experience than I do in this game. If you offer less than the max, but if we offer him the max, he'll sign with us. If we offer him less, he might sign with somebody else. Even if we can also offer the max, I have often found it to be better to overextend on one player in the hopes that he turns out to be what he promises to be, rather than try to get greedy and get two or three players. I just don't think that's a good idea. That's why I don't do it. Okay. Albert Bell, Carl Everett, and Frank Thomas. Frank Thomas is beloved by Major League Baseball fans and beloved in clubhouses. Carl Everett is deeply weird. Deeply, deeply weird. Um, like he went on record as saying he didn't believe that dinosaurs ever existed. Just a deeply weird dude. Albert Bell was a very angry young man that was also a big jerk that people didn't like. So I don't know why those three things are the same. You've given me more money, Paul Dolan. Wow. Oh, thank God. We're calling them the Sycamores. They still don't have a home. So, kind of fixing the wrong problem. I'm just saying. Kind of fixing the wrong problem. But fine. We're going to go ahead and skip down to spring training, and then we're going to set up our spring training roster. Fans are bummed. I'm sorry. Hmm. We could maybe have afforded that, maybe. But I think we were smarter not to. I think we were smarter to apply our resources in a different direction. So, yeah. No regurts. Not a singular regurt. Player development. Adrian Morjon is getting worse. That's concerning given his youth. A lot of players are getting worse, actually. That's not great. I feel like in years past it was easier for people to maintain their levels in spring training, but maybe that's just not a thing anymore, and I just have to recalculate in my own head. It's possible. Hmm. I mean, Carlos Molina just got better, so that's already proving to be a pretty solid choice there. Um, there's also a bit of rust. Because you haven't played baseball in several months, so you're going to be worse off when you report to spring training. That's a consideration. All right. Bazana, DeLauder, Herb, Castano, Big Christmas, Khalil Watson, Landon Stevens, Andrew Walters, The Nard. Welbin Francisca is a pretty decent prospect, but he's not ready for major league time, I don't think. Maybe he is, I don't know. We're probably fine. Bench coach, go ahead and set the rosters however you like. Um, I'm gonna quickly make an update here. I don't want to be bothered with the lineup stuff. Boop. There we go. And then I do need to hire a manager real fast. You know what we're gonna do instead? It's even smarter. Remember that guy that I said he'd make a great manager, just not a very good pitching coach? Yeah, welcome aboard, Corey Bucknell. Oh, you don't want to be promoted. That's weird. Okay. You know, I bet if I promoted one of these guys to manager, he'd probably take. I'd rather have Sandy Alomar Jr. I think be my manager. I wonder if Cody Buckle now will take first base coach. He would take that job. Okay. Coolio. Kevin Erminio gets promoted to being pitching coach for AAA. Andrew Moore is fine, but I'd like to get a better pitching coach for AA. Give me Martin Mainville, actually. Factually. And then let me make sure that staff rules are set. I'll ask the AI to set it. There we go. Done. Cool. All right. So we're not going to mess with them. This episode, this series is not about how to set your lineup. This series is about how to get the most out of your team and how to identify which players are good and which players aren't so good. So that's why I'm not going to bother with that stuff. We're going to go ahead and simulate up to the end of February. Yeah, no improvement is fine. We did it. We made it happen. Oh, this nonsense. I need to reconfigure manager options. They have to be out for at least a week for me to be interested. Otherwise, you can just play through it or whatever. I don't even care, bro. Chase the Louder, this is a terrible injury for him. I mean, it's never good to be injured, but this is basically going to cost him his spot. So go back to the minors. Think about what you did, which is get injured, and then don't do that next year. I'm not guaranteeing that we'll win the World Series, but I think we are better positioned to win the World Series than we were last year. That is literally your job as a general manager, is to put your roster in the best possible position for success. Yeah. Damn, Angel Ganao is really pushing in spring training. He's really trying to get better, which I appreciate. DeLauder is getting better. I think DeLauder has a really good chance to be an important piece to our outfield puzzle. Just not yet. And probably not for a while. We don't want to send to the end of the month. We don't want to send to opening day because then it can give people a service year's credit, which I'm not ready to do yet for everybody. So we're going to sim up to the 23rd. I asked about this, by the way, if that's a bug in the game or that's intended. Either way, it is a thing that happens. Sam Hentges is injured again. That's not good. That's not good at all. He's out for 5 weeks with bone chips in his elbow. You know what? That's fair. Okay. Some scoot. I'm not putting people in the IL yet, just because I like to wait till the end of spring training to do it. Okay. So the games are done, which means people typically can't be injured at this point. So Shane Bieber is going to go on the 60-day. Oh, I can't put him on the 60-day IL? That's interesting. Okay. Senor Bastardo is on the 60-day IL. Hentges is on the 15-day IL. And Rodriguez is on the IL as well. I think I'm going to send him to AAA instead, though. Fine. Okay. All right. So we have to get down to 26 players. Castano, gone. Sacconi, gone. Logan Allen, gone. Tyler Herb, gone. Gabriel Nard, gone. Only doing 4-man rotation for some reason, which I find confusing. Okay, here we go. Oh, Ben Labley isn't rated as a starter for some reason, which I find confusing. Let's fix that. So that our rotation looks full. What am I at for pitchers? I'm at 19. Okay, ideally, You don't want more than half your roster to be pitchers. Ideally, 13 is a pretty fair number. Um, Depending on the team, I might go for 12, but I definitely don't want 19. So Pacheco is going to go back to his home club, go back to the Yankees. Cantillo to the minors. Alemán stays. Hunter Gaddis is waived. Heron to the minors. Walters to the minors. $14 pitchers. One more pitcher at a minimum has to go. It's probably Gavin Williams. I think letting him go to the minors is the right choice here. Okay. I'm going to let Sandy Alomar go ahead and set up his staff the way he wants it, and this is how I would set it up too, so this is fine. All right. Line oops. We have to get rid of 6 more players. Catcher looks fine. I don't need 2 first basemen. I don't even need 3 first basemen. 1 is acceptable. Bazana I'm going to come back to. Ganau plays second, third, and shortstop fairly well. Daniel Schneemann can also play the outfield, but isn't as good offensively. That's an interesting conversation. Khalil Watson goes to the minors. Is Jason Chorio ready for the big leagues? I don't think he is. I think he needs more time to percolate in the minor leagues before we promote him. So he's going to go back to the minors. All right. I have 4 second basemen. I need at most 2. So is it going to be Ganau or is it going to be Bazana? Man, I would feel terrible sending Bazano back to the or sending Bazana back to the minor leagues. So I think we send down Ganau. I think that's the right play here, and then Bazana gets the last roster spot. Maybe asking yourself why am I keeping Bazana over Ganau? It's honestly his age. Bazana being 23 means he's ready for major league at bats, given his skill level. Ganau probably isn't. And his year last year wasn't that impressive. So I think this is the right choice. I think it's the right lineup we want to set. Let's go ahead and simulate up to opening day now, and then we'll have a quick look at it. Jonathan Rodriguez is going to miss another 2 weeks. That's okay, I guess. I'm not super happy about it, but I am accepted. I accept it. All right, you would like me to have a winning season. Okay. Minor league systems report. We're in kind of rough shape. This is something we're going to want to address in the draft this year. We're going to want to try to get some high level prospects to help shape our team in the future. I would like to take a moment and review our extensions and start talking about how I decide to extend players and when I decide to extend them. I don't have any money for extensions, so this is maybe a short discussion. But we want to start with salaries here. Okay. Shane Bieber is not coming back. It's not going to happen. If we were going to take a very small amount of money, I would consider it, but this is a hard no from me. That's not going to happen. I love Steven Kwan. I think he's a phenomenal baseball player, but he's definitely not worth $13 million. I don't think. Well, maybe he is. Maybe I need to just let him cook this year, and then we can revisit it. Um, yeah. Okay. I would give Bibby an extension like the real life Guardians did, but only if I could get him for a decent value. This is pretty reasonable. However, he's also starting to decline at 27. The fact that he has dropped to being only worth a 49. Give me another season where you show me growth, and I will give you a longer term deal. Um, Remember that in baseball, contracts are guaranteed, which means it's not like football where you can just cut the guy if it turns out he sucks. You have to keep him around, or release him and then pay the money out of pocket. So something to consider. Is this a strong team? I think it could be. I think playing Brito at first base is a mistake. I don't know why we're doing that, but I guess I can live with it somehow. I think Andy Pages has a very big role on this team, one way or the other. I think Brian Rocchio is also another important piece of this team that's maybe underrated a bit. But I genuinely think we're in decent shape. I don't like playing Daniel Schneemann at second base, to be completely frank with you. I feel like our new manager probably values defense over offense. Let me see if that's the case. Let me satisfy my curiosity here. Yeah, he favors defense over offense. I really don't see why we would ever start Schneemann when we have Travis Bazana, but I guess it's okay. I guess it's fine to just see what we've got. Yeah. I'm having regrets about keeping Bazana on the roster if he's not starting. But we'll see what happens. We'll give him some time. Give him some space. If we look at the depth chart here, it looks like Bazana's playing fairly frequently, so I'm not that concerned about it. We can let him get his looks in. Yeah. Um, if we are successful, by the way, it will be because of our pitching staff. And look, Will Brennan was already been returned to us. Poor Will. But yes, if we're going to be successful, it's going to be because of the highly revamped rotation. It's going to be a potentially healthy Shane Bieber. It's going to be um, Vicente Guzman. It's going to be other players of that type that are going to take us to the next level. Yeah. We have okay depth. I definitely think we have interesting players up and down the organization, but we don't have top tier players that are major league ready. I don't think. DeLauder being the big exception. I could definitely see a world in which Chase DeLauder becomes our new starting corner outfielder and Stephen Kwan finds a new team. I could definitely see that happening. Okay. Jonathan Rodriguez or Angel Martinez? Let's do a comparison, shall we? Compare. Okay. Angel Martinez is a much better all around hitter, but Jonathan Rodriguez has a lot more power. Um, that said, Angel Martinez is also younger and therefore might continue to get better. It doesn't strike out very much, which is pretty handy. He's also a much better base runner. So currently, Angel Martinez is sounding like the better player. If we would check defensively, this I think is the big difference here. It's his outfield arm, but otherwise, Martinez is just the better player. So we don't overthink it, and Jonathan Rodriguez is center AAA. If he won't go to AAA, which he might not, no, he has to. Yeah, we're not out of options yet. Options. Good thing to talk about here. Players get 3 option years. Um, During those years, they can be sent down to the minor leagues, and they can't say anything about it, unless they have a certain amount of major league service. I think it's 5 years, in which case they can refuse the assignment. But Jonathan Rodriguez has not had that luxury. Enjoy Columbus, my friend. Enjoy Columbus. Sam Hentges actually does offer us a pretty nice upgrade to the bullpen. I'm gonna go ahead and hand him on a rehab assignment. I'm gonna let him rehab in the minors, and we will potentially bring him up if somebody else gets hurt, or if somebody's really struggling badly. Speaking of struggling badly, we're bouncing around a lot to begin the season, which is fine. Um, it's completely fine. Guzman is rookie of the month. Nice. I mean, he's definitely figured out Major League Baseball, that's for sure. All right. So, an important part of evaluating players is looking at their statistical record, obviously. However, because it's the first month of the season, nobody has enough appearances to really be statistically significant, in my opinion. I would like to get 2 months worth. Basically, I'm looking at 150 to 200 at bats. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Um, this team is off to a very cold start with hitting. I know 733 OPS is fourth in the league, but look at how some of these guys are performing. These are guys don't have much higher ceilings than this. Jose Ramirez would be off to a very, very slow start, indeed, if this is what he turned out to be. So, Juan Brito is actually performing very well, very nicely. So that's excellent to see. Pages is struggling a little bit, but he's got the power. He's just not making enough contact. Maybe he just needs a little more practice time. If we look at Andy Pages here, he's got 96 appearances. 150 is where you really start to see, yes, this player is in a certain position now. So I'm not going to get too excited about anything here. Pitching looks great. Defense is struggling. Okay. Well, fine. Let's advance another month. We have to make a decision on Sam Hentges, unless he's injured again, which is always possible. Nope, he's ready to come back. He's too good a pitcher to stay in the minors. So I think Daniel Espino returns to the minors, and we bring Hentges back. Yeah. I mean, I think using Hentges just to control lefties is maybe underutilizing him, but I think it's fine. Tanner Bibby is struggling. Despite his walk rate being minuscule, I think he's being victimized by bad defense. His walk rate is minuscule. His strikeout rate has gone up. His home runs are up just a little tick. Something is happening defensively that's really hurting him. What's going on? Oh, interesting. Is this the issue? No, even here, I can't change the scope. I guess it must just be fielding that looks like that, because I think batting and pitching stats I have more control over. But for fielding, I can't check other things, which is whatever, I guess. Okay, I don't care about pitcher defense. That is not of interest to me. It's Tyler Freeman. Interesting. Can you please... Here we go, lineups. There we go. Fielding stats. Lay him on me. Okay. Yeah, he's doing okay, but he's not doing great. Interesting. Very interesting. I'd like Brian Rocchio to take over a little bit more. I think he's actually one of our biggest issues here. He's not playing shortstop at a high enough level for my tastes. Um, yeah. Mm. Curious. Let's play to the end of the month. Shane Bieber coming back is pretty great. I think we just trade Ben Lively at this point. No, that's not true. I think we try to sneak him through waivers and then bring Shane Bieber back. Now, Ben Lively might get claimed. If he does, he gets claimed and somebody else takes him. That's whatever. But I think. Or Shane Bieber could just get hurt again. Sorry, wrong IL. There we go. Where is Ben Lively? Where did he go? Here he is. Welcome back, Ben. I have very little depth in the rotation. That is a significant setback. Well, we're in first place in the Central, but our lead is very narrow. Very narrow indeed. We're gonna have to probably do something about that. Okay, Guzman looks fine. Um, Andrew Walters is definitely pushing for a bigger role in the very near future here, which I appreciate. Angel Ganao continues to get better. Even if he doesn't have another position. Okay. How is Jason Chorio performing? How is Mr. Chorio handling Double A this year? Is he playing at a high level? He is playing at a very high level. Uh, I think he needs to be challenged at this point. I think we maybe need to send him to Triple A potentially. But I like what I'm seeing so far. I think it's gross that Josh Hartle is probably as good as I could get if we lost another starter, or Rodney Boone maybe. Like these are not good starting pitchers that are being available to me. I would love to try to acquire another starter. That would make me happy. Tanner Bibby is getting back to where we hoped he would be, which is nice to see. What do we got on the trading block already? Pitchers wise, nobody special. Yeah, Kevin Gausman doesn't interest me. Okay, what are we looking at here? Well, is Stephen Kwan drawing walks? He is, but he's not playing at a high level. Stephen Kwan is currently hurting the team, which is a sentence I never thought I would ever say in real life, but Stephen Kwan is costing us in a significant way. Because he's not doing the thing we expect him to do, which is to put the ball in play. He's drawing walks at a good clip, but he's striking out more than we expected, and he needs to get that under control. He definitely should not be leading off. I would like you to start batting him eighth, please. And then we'll see what the lineup looks like with Stephen Kwan hitting eighth. Brito has cooled off. I think he's still decent, but I question his ability to be a top tier first baseman. Manzardo looks good. Pages looks pretty good. Jose Ramirez looks really good. Like, he's actually performing at a pretty high level. Rocchio is fine, I guess. Bo Naylor is struggling pretty badly. He's not hitting very well at all. Tyler Freeman could be replaced, and Travis Banana is performing actually pretty well. He's actually hitting okay in the major leagues here. Um, Tyler Freeman is an okay player. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I am saying that he probably isn't a starting center fielder on a contending club. He only has one offensive skill, which is not striking out. Do I have a center fielder that I could trust if I chose to send him to the minor leagues? Not really. Angel Martinez can't play center. Actually, Angel Martinez would be a better center fielder than him. Um, okay. So, by the scouting numbers, Tyler Freeman should be good at stealing bases, and he should play pretty solid defense, and he at least shouldn't strike out very much. But the stats aren't backing that up. He is not striking out very much, but he's not stealing bases very efficiently. Um, and he's not putting the ball into play that effectively. He's also struggling to play quality defense. It is fair to say that at least this early in the season, that Tyler Freeman is a disappointment. Angel Martinez is taking over center field every 10 games. I wonder if we need to trade Freeman to open up the spot permanently. Maybe. Like, if I'm going to deal with a guy hitting this poorly in the lineup, he'd better be an amazing defender, which he is definitely not. DeLauder will be back in about a month. So, come July, assuming DeLauder recovers with any level of skill, he's probably going to be called up to replace probably Beck, I think. We really need Steven Kwan to start hitting, though. That's an important consideration that has to start happening here. So leading off Tyler Freeman is comically stupid. Like, you forced me to change my mind. You don't want to start Tyler Freeman because he's bad. There you go. Yeah, please forgive me, Stephen Kwan. I never thought Sandy Alomar would actually call my bluff and try to lead off with Tyler Freeman, which is fucking stupid. It's really dumb. It's the dumbest. Let's go ahead and go up to the draft combine, and then let's try to make some noise in the draft this year. We should be better than we are, and by far the reason that I think we're struggling so much is Stephen Kwan. The Stephen Kwan of last year that was getting a base 30% more was a much better engine for this team. Right now, he is badly struggling. If he starts to heat up in the second half, or we find a replacement for him, I think we will be fine. Let's go to the draft combine. Let's combine our drafting, shall we? I am drafting 30th. Well, okay. Fine. I'm just gonna, like, just take as many decent players as I can and see what happens. I'm gonna talk about draft theory, although obviously, I'll probably never get to enjoy the fruits of any of these players in all reality. Okay. With adding Samson, we push him over the limit, so we drop Samson. And then we'll get scouting. I'm gonna do the combine one day at a time. Because if somebody gets very, very high on scouting, then I can swap them out to somebody else. Okay, then fix that, please. I don't know why I had to do that. Oh, because you did this again. Yeah, that's my GM. My assistant Gum. Let me look at combine scouting here. Yeah, Sierra Scout's accuracy is only being an average, and it's really important that for these really high level players that we're at a lot of knowledge. So yeah. Give one more day of scouting of these fine individuals. There we go. And we're just gonna send them to the end of the month. Um, because we're not managing the team, like we're not fucking around with the lineup or anything. So I don't really feel the need to be super invested until there's like an actual problem to fix, or until we reach the time period where we need to start making decisions here. I think Buckle's doing great. Let's keep him around. And then let's go ahead and just offer a bunch of minor league extensions here. I'm not going to play this sim on camera. If I decide to play more of this, I'll be doing it off camera for my own personal joy and entertainment. Yeah. Ryan Presley would like to come back next year. He's having a pretty good year. I wouldn't say no to that. But I don't have any money because I spent a lot of it. These are the prices we pay. End of the month, please and thank you. Hi. We're 44 and 34. We're one of the better teams in the American League. Um, we're not unassailable, but I feel pretty good about our chances here. Nothing too crazy is happening that I need to watch too closely. Kyle Manzardo is improving, which is very good. I like to see that. Juan Brito's getting better. Tyler Freeman's getting better. Justin Sterner is getting better. Tyler Herb is getting worse. Mr. Ganau keeps getting better. Yeah. Yeah, but Vicente Guzman is a pretty good pitcher. I think we can say that pretty safely now. Yeah. Okay. Steven Kwan is not getting better. This is really upsetting to me. This is really upsetting. Um, I mean, I could call up DeLauder. That is a thing I could do. I think that's probably the right choice here. And maybe let Stephen Kwan build up his skills back in the minors for a little bit. I mean, I guess I could just return Jordan back to his home club. Maybe that's the right move. Yeah, sending Stephen Kwan to the minors feels like a bad idea. Yeah, that doesn't seem right. Okay. Okay. So this is big. Getting Chase to louder means we bench Brito. I am perfectly fine with that. I think Brito has played better than I expected, but I think a lineup where he's playing every day is a better lineup. I think it makes us a better team. So I do look forward to that. However, I have very serious concerns if Stephen Kwan cannot start getting on base at the right amount. That is a deep concern to me. Alright, it's draft time. Okay. The most important rule about drafting in the major leagues is do not draft for need. If you're a fan of football or basketball, you know that those guys can be ready to play at the highest level, and they might be ready the year that they're drafted, or they might be ready in a year or two. Baseball has a longer runway. It just does. Um, with pretty limited exceptions, actually. So that needs to be part of your calculus when deciding who to select. Isn't am I going to use this player this year or next year? It's going to be do I'm going to use this player in 3 or 4 years. Um, this is why even if you have Jose Ramirez, you still draft third baseman because you'll need a new third baseman eventually. I think it's a very important thing to keep in mind. I am going to step away for just a moment and I will return momentarily. I have returned. Right. Draft time. So yes, that's a crucial thing to keep in mind. Um, it's almost a bit like the NHL, especially if you draft a Russian player, like when the Flyers drafted Matvey Michkov. Um, last season or the season before, they had to wait for him to finish in the KHL, the Russian Hockey League first. Um, similar thing in baseball, but at a longer time frame. So that being said, um, we're gonna skip ahead to our first round pick. Let's go. All right. There are still pretty high quality players left, which is what I expected here. Okay. Now, I just got through saying how badly we needed starting pitching. And it looks like we have some pretty solid choices for starting pitching. But I don't want to focus too heavily on any one player until we start looking at the Meech in detail. Miguel Castillo. Miguel is a really good pitcher. He's very, very good at pitching. But he's also kind of dumb. And that causes me some concern. Um, he is durable. That's an important thing to consider is how injury prone is he. Um, he's got nice ratings here. He's got, you know, above average. He's got average stuff, pretty good stuff. He's got plus movement and control, a plus plus fastball and a plus plus changeup. That's a great mix. If his makeup was a little better, that's what baseball scouts sometimes called someone's personality. I think I'd feel a little bit more realistic. I think he'd be a better pick. But I think we have to keep looking. Um, as great a pitcher as Castillo might be someday, I think because of his secondary traits here that he'll probably not get to the level we need him to get to. Corey Vincent. I like him a lot. Now the consideration here is he only throws 3 pitches, which is the minimum for a starter, but they're all plus plus. So maybe that's not such a big deal. Right now, Vincent is in the lead for me. I think he is the best starting pitcher that's still available. With the AI thinks I should look at Ryan Brown. Let's look at Ryan Brown. Ryan Brown is a genuine center fielder. No, he's not. Not with these defensive ratings. He is very much. If you put him in center field, he will give away as many gloves. He will give away as many runs as he scores. Yeah, Ryan Brown doesn't interest me. Chad Quist. He's a phenomenal catcher whose only offensive skill is hitting for average. That concerns me. That concerns me a lot, actually. Henry Ocampo we should look at. Okay, I will look at Henry Ocampo. There's a lot to like here. He's not a terribly impressive third baseman, but he's an okay first baseman, and I think his bat will play at first quite well. It comes down to be between Ocampo and it comes down to Corey Vincent. I think I like Vincent better. I think Vincent is the draft pick for me. Yeah, let's draft Corey Vincent, and I will offer him his bonus demand. Okay, well, fine. I was hoping we might be able to sneak in and grab Ocampo if he fell, but he didn't. Uh, Scout likes us looking at Steve Wagner. Hmm. He's okay. Yeah, I don't think he's that interesting, if I'm honest with you. I don't think he's a good fit. What's Jacob Lombard's deal? I like him a lot, actually. He's gonna be expensive. He's gonna be very expensive. But he's a well-rounded hitter that can actually hang at shortstop, and those guys are very difficult to find. Meet his demand, please. And we'll auto drop till my next pick. Okay. Roman Harrison and Austin Pete. What's Roman Harrison's deal? Ah. Take a moment, look at the screen, and see if you can figure out what the issue is with Mr. Harrison here. I'll give you a couple seconds. He has a third pitch, but it's really bad. So a recent phenomenon that that analytics has discovered is that principally it's hard to ask a pitcher to go 3 times through a lineup. Really good pitchers can still do it, obviously, but science is telling them people get used to your stuff and they can start hitting it. And the problem with Roman Harrison is they're going to expect 1 of 2 pitches. Now, the good news is, in real life, a fastball changeup is a pretty deadly combination, especially if you can make the changeup look like a fastball coming out of your hand. But it's not a breaking pitch, and that's problematic. Um, and the fact that his third pitch is so terrible, I think makes him far too risky at this present moment in time. I'd rather spend more money on a better prospect, in other words. Where's Michael Runyon? Oh, he's down the list a little bit. Okay, Steve Wagner. We already looked at him. Don't think so. Where is Mr. Runyon here? I don't hate him, but I'm not particularly enamored with him either. He's got power, and he doesn't strike out a ton, but he also doesn't draw very many walks. Um, and so my concern is he going to be able to put the bat and ball in play often enough to take advantage of the power that he does have? Um, he can hang at shorter third. I think he's probably best suited to be a third baseman because he's so bad at turning double plays. But I feel like if I don't take Runyon, he might fall, and I would like to get another pitching prospect if I could. Connor Langdon has 2 issues for me when evaluating him. Well, I guess 3 issues now that I think about it. Here's issue number 1. His control is really bad. He's got a nice mix of pitches that he'll be effective if he can throw strikes, which is not a guarantee. He doesn't throw exceptionally hard, even though he is a lefty. This is still kind of light, especially with a guy with bad control. And he also wants $2 million. I don't have the biggest of draft pools, so I don't want to jump on a guy as expensive as Connor Langdon if he's not a great fit. Austin Pete. Now, Austin is kind of the opposite issue. He's really good at throwing strikes, but he's not very good. He's not as good at striking people out. But I think he's got a good mix of pitches here. I think he's got some potential. I think he is worthy of a draft pick, and I think he's the guy that we'll take. Um, yeah, I think he is the right choice. Austin Pete, welcome to the Cleveland Guardians. Okay. Somebody took who just took that shortstop I was looking at here? Who did it? Yeah, this is Connor Langdon. Was it Sam Jennings? It wasn't Sam Jennings, was it? No, I don't think it was. Maybe it was him. I don't know. Man, what if we got silly here? What if we looked at Ivan Gonzalez? So he's a college reliever. These guys typically have a very fast turnaround time. They typically hit the majors very, very quickly. He throws plenty hard. He's got a great fastball curveball combination. Excellent movement, very good stuff. Control is going to get there someday. I think we take the really talented player regardless of position and see how we go with that. Plus he's cheap, which means I can spend my draft pool on other players. All right. Let's talk to Joe Hall. Joe Hall causes me concern. He's a one-trick pony. He only hits for average. His power isn't very good. He doesn't draw walks. He's got gap power and enough speed to take advantage of it. He likes to spray the ball around in the air. So there's something to his offensive game, but it's not very deep. And because batting average is so volatile, it's not something you can generally produce year in and year out unless you're like top percent, like a Tony Gwynn type. I don't think it's a great look. I think he's going to struggle to be. I think he's going to struggle to be successful in the major leagues because his skill set isn't well rounded enough. He's also a terrible third baseman, which means he's probably a first baseman. I guess that's okay. I don't think he's very good. I don't think Joe Hall is worthy of a draft pick. Shane Masella is literally the same player, but he's an outfielder. Ryan Freitag is a little better. He is a corner outfielder, but he does have some decent chops offensively. I could see adding Mr. Freitag here. Let's not overthink this one. Let's go ahead and take Freitag and give him his bonus demand. Done. You'll notice this draft has already gotten really thin on talent. That's pretty sensible. Like, that's a thing that happens pretty frequently. What if some demand is impossible means that they will sign with you if you way overpay them. I don't have the money to do that. I don't have enough money to offer Braden Harris what he probably wants. I think he's an excellent pitcher, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna draft him and then not be able to sign him. If you draft one of the first 3 rounds and don't sign them, you do get a draft pick. But that's not gonna happen here because I'm not gonna even waste my time. Sealer just doesn't interest me. Jesse Cooper is fine. He's okay. He's acceptable. Let's look at Vic Nava. Doesn't have much stuff. Eh. So Vic Nava is a junk baller. The kind of pitcher that throws really, really slowly, but is supposed to be able to like pinpoint corners. The thing is, he can't do that either. Too much of his value is his ability to somehow deaden the ball so it doesn't leave the yard. I don't think he's very good. I don't think he's very good at all. We like Sergio Cortez. Let's talk to Mr. Cortez. Let's actually look at some of the hitters, maybe. Albert Stetla, Stady, is not very good. Kevin Watkins has a bat on him. He's has some intrigue at that level. He's got decent power. He wouldn't be a terrible third baseman or first baseman. I think I could see grabbing Watkins here. Matt Taggart is a weird dude. I guess it makes sense though. He likes to hit the ball on the ground. He likes to pull it, which means he's not going to get a lot of gap power. It's fine, I guess. Yeah, he's fine. We're getting to the point of the draft, honestly, where there's not going to be a lot of players that blow your mind, especially picking at the back half of each round. I think I will take. I think I will take Mr. Watkins here, Mr. Poppin or Pepin, and I will give him his bonus demands. Okay. Beginning in the 6th round, anyone who says slot means they will sign for free. They don't want a signing bonus. Keaton Neal. What is your deal? Brilliant. Control's not great. He's got some really decent pitches, so I appreciate that. He's gonna strike people out. I don't think he's that interesting. You want me to talk to Andy Parrots? Are you fucking mental? Okay. Mr. Parrots here has a gigantic flaw. Just an enormous flaw. Where it's kind of like if we think we can fix him, he could end up being an ace. Because his stuff is that good. His pitches are that good. His stamina is that good. But that is a mighty big if. And maximum control of 13, I can't do it. I cannot. I cannot take a pitcher that has that little control. Even OSA, who likes him a lot more, it's like, yeah, the guy's not going to throw strikes. That's a bad pitcher, in my opinion. He's the exact kind of guy, though, that I would tag and see how he turns out. Because I do think he's an interesting player. Sean Blue. He's fine, I guess. I don't see anything to really excite me about him, but he's a thing. Jesse Ernst has a few things that I do appreciate. I like this. I like his makeup. I like his raw skills. He's not a center fielder, but I think he would be. He's a DH, is what he is. With that, he's that air prone in the outfield. He's a DH. And a DH without power isn't a real DH, in my opinion. I don't think that's a good fit either. What's Nick Madigan's deal? Nick Madigan is okay. Nick Madigan is acceptable. I sort of love his weak control, but he's certainly not as bad as that other guy, and he's got some really good pitches. I think he is an acceptable choice. Let's draft Nick Madigan. Oh, Keaton Neal can also hit. Interesting. So Keaton Neal represents one of those rarest of rare players, a two-way player. Um, yes, that raises his value to me to the point where I will definitely draft him and offer him the signing bonus that he thinks he deserves because he's worth it to me. Matt Tager, Steve Wren, Sean Blue, and Jesse Ernst. These guys are still around. What is Steve Wren's deal? I mean, Steve Wren definitely throws strikes. That is a thing that he does extremely well. His fastball's never going to be great. None of his pitches are very good. Like this is very much a throw a strike and hope for the best kind of pitcher. Eh, his profile doesn't interest me that much. I mean, I guess I'm splitting hairs that we're already in the eighth round. There's a chance he might be okay. I still think it's a very good chance. I do like Matt Tager's all around vibe, so I think I'd rather draft him. Steve Wren is still hanging around. I can't do it. I don't think he's a good enough player. I don't. I will draft Sean Blue. I think that's reasonable. I think that's a reasonable decision. Taking him in the ninth round feels pretty good. Okay, now that we're almost halfway through the draft, now I start drafting for raw tools. I'm gonna go to the sortable list. I'm going to search all batters for batting potential, but my special batting potential screen. I'm looking for BABIP. BABIP is an ability for average. If this is paired with the right other skills, it means that it's a pretty special player. Cameron Taylor is not very good. Well, that's not true. He's a pretty good second baseman. I do think he would be a worthwhile draft pick. Okay, what school? I'm just trying to see what school he's in. Because the Woodlands High School sounds like it would be in Texas, but he's from California. So I think Cameron Taylor, because of his defensive skills, is worthy of a draft pick at this stage in the draft. So let's make it happen. Let's do that. Let's look for raw power now. Okay. Justin Post is a deeply flawed player. I'm not willing to take that big a gamble on him. I think Macon Winslow is actually pretty decent. Um, we're probably overdrafting him with where he probably should be drafted, but I still think that's okay. Let me look now. Pitchers. I want raw stuff. Here we go, Jaden Harris. He's nothing that special, but he's pretty decent. I can live with him. Maybe, maybe, maybe. Um We're very shallow at third base. Who is left in this draft? We go back to the draft homepage. Peyton Hawkinson, we like him, I guess. Yeah, he's fine. I mean, honestly, this late in the draft, you're really looking for like just anything. But I do want to get a third baseman. I crave a third baseman. Damn. Roger Halter? Roger Halter would be an amazing third baseman. Let's draft him. I don't even really care at this point. There's consideration to just go ahead and um let the AI do whatever they want at this point because it's so late in the draft. You can get good value if you're really willing to look carefully at each and every player. Tim Bivens is terrible. Mm. Dwayne Mitchell is marginally less terrible, so I will draft him. I think he's okay. Like, these are guys that if they're starting in the major league, something has gone horribly, horribly wrong. Danforth Fonseca is pretty bad. I passed Taylor Kelly. Where are you, Taylor Kelly? Here you are. Your catcher who can't catch. That's not great. That's not an ideal situation. Pat Summers isn't very good. Rich Ekall is pretty bad. Like, they're all bad at this point. Is the thing to keep in mind. Like, they're all bad players that won't amount to anything, but you can still draft them for free. So, is there any interesting tools left in this draft? Is there any single skill that makes me excited? I guess David Garcia's got the best stuff remaining in the draft, even though he doesn't throw very hard. That's probably fine. Are there any really good guys with really good movement? Pat Summers? Okay, fine. Fine. I guess. Any interesting batting ratings left? Are there any interesting hitters? You're only showing me pictures. That's not helpful. Pete Kraska is pretty bad, actually. Actually, factually, he's pretty bad. I'll take Bobby Marsh, I guess. That's fine. That's adequate. Any good defenders left? Like, really great defenders? Peyton Gubler is. But he's also a pitcher. That doesn't really count. Batters only, please. We could get a defensive dynamo at first base. That's funny. You know what? Elgin Bennett, you're so good defensively. If you ever figure out how to hit, you instantly become a very marketable player. I will happily take that risk. For a 19th round draft pick, I think you're perfect. I think you are amazing. Carson Queck is not terribly impressive, but he's okay. He can also pitch kinda. Let's negotiate with our draftees and let's just offer these guys some money. How do you feel about money? Is money something that interests you? Oh, we didn't. I looked at top for the All-Star game just for fun, just to see what it looks like. It's gonna be another 4 months for Shane Bieber. That's rough. That's rough stuff, buddy. I feel bad for him. I could really use him actually. All-Star game roster. How many people from the CLE? Vicente Guzman, obviously. Emmanuel Clase, obviously. Jose Ramirez, obviously. Okay. 3 All-Stars, none of whom are surprising. Yeah. Could anyone else be an All-Star of this team? Probably not. I mean, Brian Rocchio could be, I guess, but it's generally easier to find great shortstops than to find great third basemen. Pitching wise, I don't care about your fielding stats. Pitching wise, yeah, maybe Bibby, maybe Flaherty, maybe Ortiz. You know, you know. They made the right choices. I can't get mad. Steven Kwan's ice cold bat is really fucking us up. Like, really badly. Luke Weaver is a reliever of very little note. Daverson Gutierrez is, I guess, a fine prospect, maybe. Hmm. Luis Merejo doesn't interest me very much. I could trade him. Oscar Melgarejo is bad. I guess the question is, what do I get out of Luke Weaver? And the answer is not much. Relief pitching isn't something that I need. Our bullpen is pretty good. So, no thank you. I mean, Daverson Gutierrez alone is maybe worth Morejo and Melgarejo. That trade I will discuss. Yeah, get fucked, nerd. I'm not doing that. Don't be ridiculous. I guess you just want the payroll relief. Um, I guess that's fine, but that doesn't interest me very much. Francisco Alvarez won the home run derby this year. That's cool. I don't need a 39-year-old reliever. Like, the only thing that's wrong with this trade is that I just don't get anything out of it. Like, there is nothing beneficial about acquiring Luis Garcia. There just isn't anything. So I will reject your trade. Um, I don't hate Cedric Mullins, but I don't love his contract either. Like, I'm not giving up anything of consequence. Aiden Major is decent. He's got some upside on him. The other two, much less so. But he's also very expensive. And that becomes an issue for me. Even though I think Cedric Mullins could fairly be said to be better than Tyler Freeman, um, I don't think that's an overstatement by any stretch of the imagination. Um, I can't afford that. So what if you ate some of his contract? That was a thing that you did for me out of the kindness of your heart. What if you ate his entire salary for me? Okay. Um, I am not giving up a really good player for him. Um, Let me drop it to 80%. How does that grab you? No, still too high. The thing is, Rokio's not a player I want to give up. Yeah, I'm not doing this. If you're not going to eat a substantial piece of his salary because he is badly overpaid, I'm not going to take the trade. I'm just not going to do it. Thank you for the offer, but I must decline because I don't think that makes sense to me. Spencer Arrighetti is fine. He's better than Ben Lively, and I'm giving up Aiden Major for him. This seems like an okay trade. I think it's a trade I can get behind. I think it makes us a better team. I'd have Arrighetti instead of Ben Lively, who's struggled this year. Yeah. It feels pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie. I think Spencer Arrighetti represents an upgrade in the rotation. He's an upgrade in the alphabet. That's fun. New trade proposal. Shintaro Fujinami sucks. Yorker Bautista is mid. I don't really want any of you guys. What if I didn't take Fujinami? Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not going to give you guys payroll relief, especially when you don't actually need it. Um, that doesn't interest me. Juris Familia is pretty bad. I don't think that interests me at all. Yensi Almonte is pretty bad. Yeah. We gotta hope for people that are desperate. I think that would be pretty nice. What do I want? Before I start the channel, what do I actually want? Stephen Kwan has finally gone from Arctic levels of coldness to Antarctic, maybe, whichever one would be better. I could use a better center fielder. I don't think Tyler Freeman is the man here. I think he is badly, badly flawed and not a sustainable option for us any longer. I need power. Some of that might be coming from Chase DeLauder, though, who's actually taking to major league pitching fairly effectively, actually. Jose Ramirez is pretty good. He's a pretty good baseball player. Cal Manzardo is pretty good. Yeah, Brian Rocchio is actually pretty decent. The problem is Tyler Freeman. Okay. Is Jason Chorio ready for the major leagues? He's not ready for the major leagues, but I also don't think he's ready for the major leagues yet. So, a center fielder who could start for us for like a year, maybe two, would actually be pretty awesome. Derek Hill is a really good defender. He's got good speed. He's got a pretty decent bat, even if it's not exceptional. This is the exact kind of player that I'm looking for. Somebody who will significantly upgrade our outfield defense and offer some veteran leadership. What is it going to cost me to get Derek Hill on my team? Okay. A bit more than I'm willing to give up, but I'm also willing to talk about it. Who is my most fungible prospect? Probably Matt Jacek or Andrew Walters, maybe, or Kane Kepley, possibly. Kepley's not bad. I Angel Cervantes. Maybe, maybe, maybe. Yeah, I think this is fine. I think this is a reasonable trade. Um, I know Cervantes looks like he's got this really high ceiling, but there's enough here that gives me pause. That I don't think he's going to be all that good. I think he's going to be pretty mid. And Derek Hill is more useful to me right now. So what we do now is we go and we demote Tyler Freeman, and we activate Derek Hill. What else do I want? I think the right starting pitcher could be pretty handy, or somebody quite young. Seiya Suzuki would be a pretty nice upgrade over Stephen Kwan, but I don't have the money to pay him, and so it would be purely a rental, which makes him less attractive. Justin Steele, same idea. Great pitcher, not somebody I can really afford in a realistic sense. Sean Manea, maybe. The Phillies are looking to get rid of some pen guys. I could see that being an upgrade, maybe. Possibly. The pen's really not the problem, though. The rotation is a little bit. Like, the rotation is something that we could definitely get better at. But I don't want to take on money for it because I need payroll flexibility for next season. So I think I feel reasonably good about the first day here. I'm gonna reject. I'm gonna reject this. And you clearly don't want to do this trade, so that's fine. A sim to the next deadline day. Austin Voth is uninteresting. Alexander Suarez is somewhat interesting. And Yorman Gomez is nothing special, but I don't want Austin Voth. I just have no interest in him. Like if that piques your curiosity, I'm willing to talk about it. You're looking for like one more player. I don't think I want him that badly. I don't think he's that good a prospect that I'm willing to give up a second player, even somebody who's not that great, because I just don't want him that badly. Yeah. Like he's an okay outfielder. He's got some okay range. He's really hitting well in Double A, but he's been bouncing back and forth between Double A and Triple A, never really excelling at any one location. Um, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think he's that interesting to me. If I can't get him for one player, then I don't want him. That's just how I feel. Jacob Webb is a mediocre reliever. Again, I don't need relievers. I'm perfectly content with my existing bullpen. I'm not even going to ask who you want because I don't want to get involved. Okay. Not a terribly interesting deadline, but I do think we got a really good player out of it. And I do think we got somebody that can help us out. Um, at least until Jason Chorio is ready to go full time, which might be very, very soon. But I don't want to rush him either. But Tyler Freeman was very clearly not getting it done, and I think the new guy is superior. Spencer Arrighetti getting better. Nice. Luis Ortiz casually throwing almost 100 miles an hour just for fun. Chase DeLauder's improving. Very good. Hunter Gaddis is getting better. A lot of people are getting better. We like to see it. Love that here. Nice. Nice. This has been a very long video, but hopefully it's one that you're enjoying. This is what it takes, by the way, when you're doing an entire season in one video. Um, but hopefully my thought process really helped you out, understand how I make decisions and how I try to build a roster. Um, the one thing you can't do is you can't really get picky, especially early into a rebuild, which we're not rebuilding. We're actually a postseason type team. But you can't get too picky, and you can't get too attached to any one player until they've proven worthy of your love, of your attention. Who can come back? Angel Bastardo and go rehab. If I let you rehab, you can be called up, and we can use you when rosters expand if I want. I am cranking out some pretty high quality achievements here, which makes me happy. Tariq Skubal's on the fucking Yankees now? That's gross. Boo the Yankees. Boo this man. Boo. Calvin Zardo's getting better. Brian Rocchio is getting better. Chase DeLauder is getting better. Khalil Watson is on the team. Matt Jawchak probably needs to get some attention here. Trent Denholm has added a tiny bit of velocity. That's pretty handy. DeLauder hit 419 over the course of a week. That's pretty neat. 300 homers for Jose Ramirez. Nice. Who do I want to call up? I think John Kenzie Noel and Angel Genau are the two that I want to call up. And we'll just ride the vibes and see if a few extra home runs off the bench can make a difference for us. Jack Flaherty is going to miss the postseason now. That makes me sad. That's actually really, really bad. I guess Mr. Bastardo is going to get his chance to start in the majors after all. That really sucks. I think Jack Flaherty had a better than average chance to be an important starting pitcher for us in the postseason. And now we're not even going to get to have him at all. Sad. I am winning the AL Central by a fair bit, which should mean I get one of the two bye weeks, which is pretty handy. I don't hate that at all. 4-game home run sleep. Sweet. Nice. So this big free agent deal is going to looking really bad because he's going to be out most of next year too. If and when he recovers, he won't be the same pitcher. Oh, Armand Poppy was in an accident. Poor guy. I hope you recover soon. I like you. All right, so far Chase DeLauder seems like he's a pretty good dude. I feel like Vicente Guzman has a really decent chance to win Cy Young, maybe, possibly, conceivably. That would be pretty dope if he did. I mean, he's definitely got Rookie of the Year locked up. I think. I think that's a fair statement. Travis Banana. I could probably stop saying Travis Banana, but I don't want to. It's fun to say. Yeah. If you don't like it, you can suck it. Yeah, we're easily coasting to the second spot because the Sycamores are pretty bad. We're losing Larson Kindreich. Kindreich. I don't think the Reich is something that can really be all that kind if I'm being level with you. We made the postseason. That's amazing talk. Um, I think leaving best starter off the roster is okay. I think that's reasonable. I think that's an acceptable choice. And then we just let the rest of it go and we see how we do. Oh, we do get to rest and recover for the first week. Until next round. We're facing the Mariners in the ALDS. Okay. I'm listening. I mean, pretty damn good. Pretty good stuff there. Look at this win probability graph. We were in real trouble, and then we scored 2 runs in the last 2 innings and won. Who was the man? Stephen Kwan, of course. I don't know why we're letting Derek Hill lead off. I think that's a pretty stupid idea, but okay. If that's the way you want it to be, then I guess that's the way it's gonna be. Tanner Bibby did not do so well. That's a bummer. Seattle's got a really good all-around rotation, so I'm not that surprised that we're struggling a little bit. A personal message, Wade Miley's gonna retire. Okay. Spencer Arrighetti really put up a high-quality performance. That's really good. That was clutch as shit. That's extremely clutch. We're not scoring a ton of runs. But hopefully here, hopefully, the big rookie can bring it home. Eh. Okay. Playoff coverage. Oof. This was not Vicente Guzman's fault. This was entirely Ryan Presley, who looks like Andy Page has made a pretty big gaffe. 3 unearned runs because Emmanuel Clase probably threw a wild pitch would be my guess. Let's check that out. Game log, top of the 9th. What kind of error is it? Okay, this reach on air E1. They're not calling it a wild pitch, so he probably was supposed to cover first and he didn't. Look at this weak ass roll here. An X velocity of a very nice 69.4 miles per hour. That's basically like he beat it into the dirt, and the first baseman probably overthrew it. So we could have done okay, but we didn't. We fucked up, and that's why we lost. Sad. We lacked depth in the rotation. The thing that I said at the beginning of the season would probably hurt us is the thing that hurt us. Vicente Guzman was amazing. The problem is we didn't have anyone to pair with him except for Tanner Bibby, who had a good year, but not a great one. So that is something we're still going to want to keep our eyes peeled for. If we were going to play a second season of this, I would definitely be spending some serious resources trying to improve the rotation to make it a little bit stronger in terms of the postseason. But I hope this looked into the individual decisions that you can make over the course of a season, and all the decisions that I made helped you decide how you can make things in your own saves. I am not a perfect player in this game by any stretch of the imagination. Every time somebody comments on a video, every time I read the forums or check out Reddit, I learn something new. And I think that's how you have to take it. You have to take it in that way, which is, I have to keep getting better. And there's also RNG, just like in real life. Baseball players aren't robots, at least not yet. You don't just get to type in your keyboard, "I want you to hit 50 home runs this year," and then they hit 50 home runs. That's not how it works. Um, However, you can get the most possible value out of your roster spots, and I think that is the key here. Um, I think Derek Hill was a very nice find for us. If we take a quick look at how the season went, Derek Hill was our MVP. We got a big year out of him, which is excellent. He was also a top tier center fielder, which is something else he needed pretty desperately. So Derek Hill was an excellent choice. He's part of the reason we made the postseason and sailed in so easily. Next up was Bo Naylor. We got a ton of value out of him, despite the fact he didn't hit very well. Um, this is because he hit plenty of home runs and doubles, but also because he was a pretty good catcher. Maybe not so good with the base with the throwing arm, but still pretty good. Jose Ramirez is declining, which I think is reasonable from a 33 now 34-year-old man. He's still an excellent player and a worthy All-Star, but he's not the same level he was in the past. So he's the kind of guy that we probably want to start thinking very heavily about what comes next at third base. Because he is almost certainly not going to end up on the next great Guardians team when 2029 rolls around. Important point here, by the way, it's worth mentioning here. It says not willing to waive NTC. What does that mean? It's not willing to waive no trade clause because he's a 10-5 player. He has 5 years in the major leagues and 10 years with the same team. He gets an automatic no trade clause. Also, this is cool. Prospect promotion incentive means if you promote them because they're a highly ranked prospect, you can get a draft pick, which is pretty dope. Were you eligible for it? You were not eligible, but you might be when you get more service time. Okay. Okay. What about Travis Banana? Does he qualify? He is eligible, so I might be able to get a nice draft pick for him. Anyways, Chase DeLauder was awesome. He low key saved the season, and he took to the major leagues like gangbusters. He played exceptionally well, and hopefully he would continue to do that for the Guardians. Rocchio was fine. He was right about league average with the bat, but he helped us out with the glove, which is more important. Travis Banana was pretty effective with the bat, and he was pretty bad with the glove, which is what I expected from him. I didn't expect him to be a very good second baseman, and he isn't. So if he's going to have an everyday role on the team, he's going to need to play better defense at a different position, maybe. Andy Pages was good, but not great. I think there's some untapped potential here, but he was okay. He was a terrible outfielder. He was really, really bad at it. Concerning. Kyle Manzardo was pretty solid. He could and should be better than he was, but he definitely improved significantly over last season. He is trending in the right direction. We just need him to actually play at the level we expect him to. Stephen Kwan was not very good this year. He did get less bad over the course of the season, but he definitely was disappointing. Let's look at our pitching staff. I think Vicente Guzman is probably going to win both Cy Young and Rookie of the Year, would be my guess. Maybe. Tanner Bibby is really good. Emmanuel Clase pitched effectively. We needed a partner for Guzman besides Bibby, and I think Bibby was fine. but also he could have been better. Yeah. But hopefully this helps you understand how I make decisions, and hopefully it helps you make your own decisions in the game. Um, if you ever have any questions, please let me know. I'm ending this Monday series here with this mega episode. But don't worry, there will be content next Monday. I just haven't decided what it is yet. Um, it's probably going to be Civilization 7. It's a game I've wanted to get into and display on the channel and talk about it. But we're going to wait on that. And I'm going to wait and make sure there's not another game that's even more suitable. So be on the lookout for the video next Monday. Until then, this has been Guardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.